Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how I make this Christmas countdown. It has a circle that you change from day to day, 25, 24, etc., on down to 1. It has, you have your whole, where the numbers show up, days until Christmas, and then just some decoration on the bottom. And it's on a stand, so it's freestanding. And it's made up of 3 layers. The front layer, the center layer with the numbers, and then just a backer layer. And it's all together on one little platform. So let's get right into Lightburn and I'll show you how I made this. So here you see our prototype and how I have it nested. I've made it and sized it so this will fit on a 300 by 300 sheet of 1/8 inch plywood. To start with, we need a circle. I'm going to hold down the shift key and we want, with the aspect ratio locked, I'm going to resize that to 135 millimeters. That's the size we're working with. And I need another one. And this will be for your center axle. And depending on what you have available to use for a center axle, that's going to determine the size of this hole. For example, if you have like a piece of 1/8 inch dowel, I would make it 3 millimeters. Or you could make it 1/8 of an inch. That's the cool thing about Lightburn is it does math for you. So make 1/8 of an inch. It's just over 3 millimeters, but you want it to be a little bit tight, so take kerf into consideration. So 3 millimeters should be a good number. All right, so now we have a 3 millimeter circle and our 135 millimeter circle. I'm going to shift and click that one and hit the bullseye, and now you'll see that's right center of it. Now we need another circle. I'm just going to use the offset tool for this, inward, and we're going to go in 3 millimeters. So that's going to give us a 3 millimeter spacing around the outside. Now we need a rectangle for our window, and we'll unlock that. Let's go 12 by 10, and then shift and click and vertical center, and I think I want to be just a little bit higher with that, so I'm going to hold down my command key and move it up 5, 10. Yeah, that looks good right there. That's where we're going to have our numbers. That's going to be the window for our numbers to show through. Okay. So to do our numbers, we need to click on our text tool. And we're going to type lowercase dd. And we need to come over here and change it from normal to serial number. And we want the offset to be 1. We want it to start with the number 1. Otherwise, if you don't, it'll start with number 0. Go here, click on the text, click on the box, center it, and that should work. We can always resize the box a little bit later if we need to. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to get our text, our numbers all the way around the circle, which we're going to grab the text part, and then click on this center circle, and bring up the circular array tool. Now the way I have this set, starts at 0, ends at 360. We're making 25 copies. So starting with number 1 and going all the way up to number 25. Use the last selected object as center. By having that selected, I selected the text. Then I selected this little circle, which is the dead center of our circle. We want to rotate them, because if you don't rotate them, they won't show up properly. It'll be all askew as you rotate the ring around. So we want to make sure it's rotated. We ought to auto increment by 1. So each number is going up by 1. We'll group and select the results. Now what that's going to do is that's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. all the way around to 25. On my prototype, I actually have it go in the opposite direction. It goes 1, 2, 3 in a counterclockwise direction. And the reason I did that is I wanted to see if I could. And the way you do that is just by changing your start and end. Like right now, the default is start at 0 and end at 360. If you put 360 in the start and 0 at the end, it goes the opposite direction. Just something to be aware of. So now we have that selected. I'm going to change that to a fill, because I want it to be a fill layer. And we're going to go to variable text. And if you don't see your variable text window, go up to Window, Variable Text, and that'll bring it up so you can get to it. Now, if I click on the test, you'll see it fills in all those D's, all those placeholders with our actual object numbers. But we need that to stay there. We don't want to just be, we're not printing it in multiples where the next one will be different and like that. We want it to stay there. So we're just going to click on the bake. And now that's done. Those numbers are in place exactly where we need them. Now we need to duplicate this. Going to use center hole. I'm going to shift and select and group those together. Now we need to make our the rest of our shape. Use a rectangle tool and just draw a rectangle out, and we'll make that on the red layer. And we want this to be not that wide. Let's make it 135 wide because that's the same as the rest of it. And then let's make it 40. And with the rectangle where we want it, I'm going to take and radius these top corners just for a little detail. Now I'm going to duplicate that because we're going to need that later. Now I'm just going to move that to a green layer, and we're going to hide that just so it's not in our way for right now. That'll be for our center layer. I want this and that. Back to the Boolean Assistant, and we'll grab Union, and you see how that cuts out the lower part of the circle. We're going to go OK there. So we have that Union together. Whoop. Cancel on me. Union, OK. All right, so with that selected and this selected, okay, we're good. Undo. I want to duplicate that for our back layer without the center ring, and then add this on and group that together. So now we have one group that has our base, our circle, our axle hole, and our window. We have another piece that has our base and our axle hole with no window, and then we have the third piece that has the axle hole and all the numbers. So we undo that, bring those back together. Now I'll turn the green layer back on, and we're going to grab this, the outer circle with the numbers, and we're going to do an outward offset of just 2 millimeters, and that's going to give us space to spin the numbered circle around. So with that selected, I'm going to select the green, go to our Boolean tools. We don't want union, we want to have not intersection. We want to do subtract B minus A. See, that got rid of all the offset circle we made, and it's down and just cutting out around this. So we're going to select that, click OK, and now that's this piece. That's the piece that's going to sit. That'll be our center layer, allowing room for the circle to rotate without dragging, and have space between the front and the back so that the circle fits in there as well. Got that. Let's move this guy out of the way. We'll deal with the graphics on there in a minute. Put this one down here. We need to place our tabs and build our base. Let's grab another rectangle, and we'll put that to red also. And what's our width on this is, that's 135. Let's give it a little bit of overhang on this one. I didn't do it on the first one. Let's make it give 3 millimeters, 141, and a height, width of 45. Okay, and now we're going to select both of them, center them vertically. Now what I want to do is I want to actually move this up just beyond that, so that when I do the second step from now, you'll understand why I did that. All right, now we need our rectangles for our slots. 3 by 15 would have turned out. That's fine. I'm going to hold down Shift and grab this outer rectangle and bullseye center it. Now click off, reselect that, Control D to duplicate it, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arrows over. That's good. And D to duplicate it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arrows over. Now these guys I want to duplicate. And now you remember how I made this box, so it's just slightly above that. I'm going to use the docking tool, and those are going to jump up and align right perfectly with the insert piece. With that selected, I'm going to shift select the insert piece, and we're going to do a quick union on that. Hopefully. There we go. We got a union there. And the reason the Boolean assistant didn't work is because those slots aren't grouped together. Now, I want to select these slots, and I need to adjust for my curve. Now your curve's going to be different than mine is, but the process is the same. So we're going to go resize slots and selection. I have those three slots selected. Right now they're set for 3 millimeter. And we're looking at slot width, which is actually the vertical in this case. But if I go, the way that works is you choose some old material thickness, which in my case is 3 millimeters, and I want to make it 2.9. But click apply. If you notice, they changed ever so slightly, but did make the change. We're going to click OK. And now that's done. So now those slots are resized for the curve. I'm going to, actually before I do that, now I want to put a radius on these corners as well. Just grab the radius tool, click on each corner. Okay. Back to select tool. And now we can group that together. So we have this is our stand. This is the piece that actually slots into the stand. And the other thing I want to do here now is I want to shorten these tabs up just a little bit so there's no possibility that they're going to stick out the bottom. I'm talking about right now, if they're too long, they'll stick out through the bottom of the base and it might cause it to rock a little bit. If they're a little bit short, then you're totally relying on the base for sitting flat. So I'll go to resize slots and selection again with that selected. And notice with saying slot depth, it's picking the pieces in between and not the outer pieces, because a slot or a tab has to have 4 nodes, parallel nodes, like any kind of rectangle. Which here you have that 1, 2, 3, 4, but on the end you only have 3, so it can't see that. So if I was to, let's make this 10, just so you really see it. If I was to do that, you'd see how it's going to really mess up. You don't want that. But undo, cancel. Oh, poopy. There we go. Let's go back in, resize slots, and we don't want 10, and we don't want the slot depth. We want the tab height. That's going to choose the proper ones, and we want to make this so there's no chance that it sticks out. Make that 2.7, and that shorten those 3 tabs up a little bit. So that part's done. That part's done. So we have our back piece. We have our center piece with the stand and our center circle with the numbers. Then we have our front piece. We need to put some text and graphics on this. So let's do that next. Let's go days until Christmas. And I'm just doing that and making it uppercase. Put on a grave layer. Whoops. I don't know why it does that, but it just does. Put it on a black layer now. Okay. Now we need to center this. Shift. center. And I want to make that text a little bit bigger. Yeah, we'll do that. That looks better. Make sure it's still centered. Good, good. And then over here I'll just copy these graphics I used before. Actually, grab all these, duplicate, drag, whatever. Drag this over, drag this over, drag this over. Okay. So let's get this where we want it. That needs to shrink down a little bit in this case, I think. That looks better. Put this there. And I'm going to actually flip this one this time. So it sits under the tree a little bit nicer. All right, so I'm going to grab those, align them to the bottom. I'm going to shift and add this, and I'm going to do a distribute. So now they're spaced evenly. They're all selected. I'm going to group them. Shift and click that and center vertically. And there we have it. So here we have the front piece, which is what you see. Days Until Christmas with the graphics on it. The center with your numbers, the spacer and the base plate, and then the back piece. So let's grab these. Let's do my nesting here. Whoop, that's not grouped together. I want to make sure that's all grouped together because I want to move together and not get messed up. Let's grab this, move it up here, select this one, and select this one, and we're going to the same height. I'm going to take this one and dock it over to that one. Oh, hit this. Now let's try it again. There we go. They're docked together. And I'm going to move it apart just one. Actually, that's too much. Shift click 5 millimeters. Move 5 millimeters there. Grab this one. And space it in the center. Now these two here can be rotated. Oh, it might be a little tight now with it. With that bigger size, it might be a little bit tight. Oh, it'll still fit. It will still fit. Okay, so I'm at 288 by 289. So I can move this guy to where it's just in and not touching. Definitely too much. There we go. Move that in a couple. Plenty of space here. And it still all fits in 282 by 288. So it still all fits within a 300 by 300. Well, I hope you found this helpful to make this cute little Christmas countdown for your family or to sell, whatever. You know, you set it with your own graphics on, however you want to decorate it, and give it a little sanding, a little bit of finish. It's beautiful. It's just great. It could be a family heirloom. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more light burn tips and tricks. We'll see you next time.